girls, and there's also therapy too.
Okay, cool. All right, well, are you recording?
I am.
Okay, dope. Okay, cool. So, oh my gosh, Harvest Festival is so huge. I can't believe we're here.
Yeah, and this is one of my favorite episodes. I think I could rewatch it like over and over and over again. There's so many wonderful lines.
Mm-hmm.
I have to ask you before we get started though, because this is what I was super interested in, and I don't know if my brain's just crazy. On Peacock, did you watch Peacock, the Peacock version, or just the DVD? Okay, are there extra scenes?
Well, it depends, I think, on when you first watched it, because this is technically the producer's cut. On both of them, on the DVD and on Peacock. When I was watching the commentary, there were quite a few times that Mike Schur said that some of these things were added in. So it does depend. For me, it didn't seem like it was any new scenes, because I think that I watched all of this when it was out on like Netflix, which is I think when the producer's cut would have happened, but maybe not.
Huh. Well, because I've watched Harvest Festival when it was on Netflix, when it first came out.
Yeah.
Maybe not when it first came out, but like I've watched it several times.
Yeah.
And I've never noticed some of these lines.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm intrigued to hear which ones you weren't like sure were there.
It could be me being crazy and me because I feel like me, like if I'm working or I'm doing the dishes, I'm putting on Parks and Rec or The Office in the background. So, I mean, it could also be that I had Harvest Fest on in the background. I totally didn't clock that those were new to me.
Yeah.
But this time when I'm sitting and I'm actually like taking everything in 100%, I was like, huh.
Yeah.
I'll remember that.
Totally. Well, I mean, I do the same thing. Like, with friends and stuff, I do the same thing. I have it on the background. And then like when I'm actually watching it, there are instances, not very many now, because I've seen it like literally probably at least 25 or more times all the way through of the 10 seasons or whatever. But there have been like very rarely, but there have been times when I'm like, wait, that's what they said or that's what they meant. So, I mean, I could definitely see it happening for this too.
Yeah. Huh. Okay.
Okay, well, before we get started, I did want to do kind of, it's not really a recap, but it's more of a timing thing. So Nick Armstrong, who is the one who played the server in the diner with the give me all the bacon and the eggs that you have, sent in a voice memo. And so I wanted to play that because we didn't have it back when when we were first recording. So let me see if I can go ahead and play that for you.
Hey there, it's me, Nick Armstrong. Happy to answer these questions. I hope they help you out in your podcast. Congrats on the podcast. So you ask a few questions. I'll answer those the best I can. Your first question was, what was your audition like and how did you get the job on Parks and Rec? Well, this is actually a very interesting story. So I was performing at IO West at the time in Los Angeles, where I was doing improv constantly for probably like 4-5 times a week, just always on stage. I love it. I still love it, still do it today. And I believe Allison Jones was there, or the assistant as well, and who at the time was Dorian Frankel, who later became the casting director for most of Parks and Rec. And Dorian was a IO alumni as well. So I was performing, I got the audition for The Office, I ended up getting it, and the second AD was Randall Einhorn at the time, and then he was the director of the episode that I was in, so I kind of got lucky through all that. They liked my work, and then I got cast finally in Parks and Rec. Now I say finally because I auditioned for Parks and Rec like 5 or 6 times before I got this part, and what a part to get. It was worth the heartache for so long because I got the eggs and bacon scene, which was such a fun time. And I got to spend a lot of time with Nick Offerman, so that was great. And he's just such a sweetheart.
I wanted to just pause really fast because I wanted to talk about, just as a reminder, he was in Launch Party in The Office, or Lanch Party, as Kevin said. He was doing the setting up the webcam or whatnot. I think that's so wild that Randall Einhorn was like the connection there. That's wild.
Yeah.
So, okay. Anyway, this is the rest.
Perfect.
So, yeah, that's how I got the job. I finally auditioned, got the job, and filmed. So that was fun. Yeah. Do you have any fun memories of being on set, working with Nick, getting any direction? The blank stare he gave us. Thank you. Yeah, well.
I told him the blank stare was like insane and so funny. Where he was like, oh.
Yeah.
We did a bunch of takes. My fun memory, honestly, was driving in the van over to the diner, which I'll talk about later, where we did the scene. And, you know, he was just so sweet. And it was just me and him and the driver in the van. And we were talking about improv. He was actually supposed to do improv at the same theater I was with his wife, Megan Mullally, that night. And we couldn't because we were both running late in the shoot. So we both just ended up hanging out with each other on the set all night. It was a night shoot. And yeah, so it was fun. Randall gave us a bunch of different ways to do it. I don't remember. I think that's officially the way it's in the script, but we got to improvise a lot, and Nick was so funny. He would feed me stuff. I'd feed him stuff. The job of you as a co-star is to make the star look good, and that's what I was trying to do. And that's what you do in improv, really, is you always make the other performer look like a genius. And so that trained me very well. But Nick was so generous in his offers as well. So it was very fun. And that blank stare could have come out of an improv or something like that, because it was just like, yeah. Was the diner real, and what was it like? Yes, it was a real diner. It's in Van Nuys, California. It's like an old diner. I mean, LA has so many cool like locations like that. But yeah, it was an old diner. I think, the Van Nuys area, Sepulveda there. And it was nice, just a nice diner. It looked totally like something you'd find in the Midwest and probably Indianapolis area. So, and LA has a bunch of that stuff. I mean, they film so much stuff in LA that's like, hey, this is this country or this. So it was pretty cool. And again, it was just the crew, a very light crew, and me and Nick. And Nick and I sat in the booths between takes and just talked, and it was very sweet. So yeah, it was fun. Overall, the experience was great. I loved doing it. I still get memes thrown at me every year about all the eggs and bacon. I still get messages, people call me and stuff like that. So it's pretty crazy. It's probably the most famous television scene I have been in, for sure. That's been lasting like that. But yeah, anyways, nowadays I still act. I just did a pilot in Los Angeles, but I live out in Colorado now, and I'm running a comedy club called Rise Comedy, and trying to help a younger generation get to where I got to, and all the people that helped me along the way. I'm trying to give that back to other comedians with the knowledge I have in the industry. So that's it. Thank you very much for the interview, and I hope you're well. And if you have any other follow-up questions, I'd be happy to record them or anything. Thank you so much.
Yay!
That's awesome.
He was so
I love that. I
nice.
love hearing that, like all the interactions he got to have with Nick.
Yeah, totally. I also told him, it's really funny because I feel like so many of the people that we've talked to have talked about the van on the way over. And I think that's really hilarious because, like, I can't remember who said it, but it's the great equalizer where, like, everybody's just an actor there for the job. And so you're not your role at that point. You're all just trying to get to set. And so it's really interesting to be able to kind of have that communication with each other. I think that's so cool.
I do too. I don't think we would necessarily think that that's even a part of the day in the life of an actor.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Yeah, I also liked hearing that the thing was real. The diner was real. So that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I will post his the Rise Comedy on our website if you're in Colorado, or in our show notes. So if you're in Colorado or like just want to look him up, definitely do so because it's really cool what he's doing. I think it's really fun.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yay! Okay, well, Harvest Festival! Okay, we're finally here. It's happening. Okay, season 3, episode 7. This was written by Dan Gore, aka our friend who has been on a lot of Parks and Rec stuff. Also created Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Directed by Dean Holland. No introduction needed there. Hello.
No.
Neither of them really need introductions. Before we get started, though, there was a commentary on here. So Mike Schur, Dan Gore, Retta, Jim O'Hare, Dean Holland himself, and our guy Harris Whittles was on this commentary. And it was so cute to hear all of them together. Also, Harris Whittles was so funny. It was a joke, obviously, but maybe it wasn't. I don't know. He kept saying he had never really watched the episode, and he wasn't really saying a lot on it. And Mike Schur was kind of teasing and being like, have you really never seen this before? And it was really funny. So I thought that was awesome. He was speaking to us from the beyond.
Yes. What a episode to have commentary on. I would actually be very upset if there was no commentary for this episode.
I know. It was huge. Okay, so I have a couple of fun facts to talk about before the summary, if that's okay, because there is so much information in here. Okay, actually, you know what?
I don't doubt it.
Let's hear the summary first, and then I'll tell you the fun facts. That seems like more chronological.
I kept it shorter than usual because I knew that there was going to be a lot of stuff today.
Okay,
so here's our summary. Take two.
Take 2.
Harvest Festival is here. Leslie and Ben handle a curse. Anne explores relations outside of Chris. Andy and April fight over applesauce. And Tom and Jerry lose a prized possession to all of Pawnee. Can the gang bring it all together?
Can they do it? Oh my God. Ba-ba-bum. Oh my God, crazy. Tom and Jerry, I think it's so funny. And also, I think this was the first episode that I realized that they were Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, that's amazing. Even when I was writing that, I didn't catch it.
It's so funny to me.
Okay, that's great.
All right,
I love it.
Fun facts. Okay, this aired in March of 2011, which to me didn't make sense because I was like, Harvest Festival should be in October.
100%.
However, there are a couple things to go with this. Number one is that they did film it in October because this was when the Harvest Festival was actually up at the location, which we will talk about a little bit later. But they just aired it in March.
Okay, that's smart.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It still doesn't super make sense, I suppose, but that's just the way it happened. Also, this was filmed out of location, which I will talk about, or out of order, rather. So I will talk about that a little bit later, but that could also be why. So the location, the big question of where this was. It was in LA. It was at Los Angeles Pierce College, which is a public community college in Woodland Hills. That's about 30-ish minutes from the center of LA. Depending on traffic. And a friendly reminder that according to all the people that we've talked to, I've talked to the art designer and things like that, or art director, I should say. And there was already a Halloween Harvest Festival at this college. There was a huge grass field area that they could use, so they could just build on that. And they also already had the corn maze, so that didn't need to be built. And they said that they probably wouldn't have been able to really do this big of an episode if it wasn't for that set already having been there, because that was a lot to do if they had to do all of it themselves.
I was going to say that was elaborate. It was so well done. And I know the pan out shot. Some of that's got to be CGI or something,
oh my gosh,
right?
Yes, there's such a breakdown on that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. I knew you would have the answers. I literally already had a note that Holly's got it. Okay. So, but no, I think that's phenomenal that they were able to find that.
Totally.
That's crazy that they just had that at their fingertips, because you're right. It is so elaborate. They show so many different parts of the Harvest Festival. You know how sometimes in TV shows when you're they might not necessarily have the budget for that. They only use 2 spots in a big place, and you can tell, so that's awesome.
Yeah, it's nice that they didn't have to fake anything. For the festival anyway. Obviously, you talked about at the end when they do the CGI shots and things like that. That's something different. The thing I didn't understand was that on Wikipedia, I think this is from Wikipedia, they said that this was shot out of sequence so the weather could be cooler when the scenes were shot. But they also, it's alarmingly popular. Alarmingly might not be the word. It's very well known that October is one of the hottest months in LA. In fact, I've heard that on many podcast that's a reshoot or rewatch podcast. And I think Office Ladies even talked about this. I don't know. So maybe it gets hotter in November? I don't know. But October for sure is a hot month. So I don't know how maybe they did it in like, I think maybe what they meant. No, I was going to say maybe if they had shot it in like August or something, it would have been even hotter. And then that would make it make more sense so they'd have more time for editing for October. But I don't know. Regardless, the point is that it was like 102 degrees, 103 degrees, like super hot. And like they were all wearing, obviously it was October, so they were wearing like suits and like, you know,
I'll tell you right now, it's
whatever.
not 102 degrees in Indiana in October.
Right. No, not at all. So very interesting. But yeah, I mean, sure. Mike Schur is quoted as saying the week that we would have been shooting it was like 148 degrees here and the actors would be dead now. But I don't know when he means. So, but yeah, basically the point is that October is really hot. So this was like insane. It could have been, like if he meant over the summer, it would have been even hotter. So who knows? But anyway, so just keep that in mind when you're watching this episode, that was really super, super hot and sweaty. This was also one of the ones, this was the episode that was screened for a press junket, and then the press got to tour the set and meet Lil Sebastian, which sounds so fun and cute.
What?
I know. Can't imagine it. But yeah, this is the one they chose to like as a screener for the press.
Oh, cool.
So,
for the whole season, like
really
they do
cute.
a press junket each season or whatever?
I think so.
Cool.
Yeah. Usually they pick an episode or two to like show everybody, and that's like their coming out situation. You know what I mean?
Nice.
I don't know the ins and outs of it, but so if anyone else does, please let me know. But yeah, so that for that season, this was the episode, which makes total sense. And then according to the commentary, they did shoot this episode after the fact. They actually shot this was what I was talking about before. So they actually shot April and Andy's wedding first, and then this was after. And so they had to like pretend that they had never like said "I love you" before, which was so crazy.
Okay, so it wasn't kind of like the first 6 episodes where they were shot in a certain order and then they shuffled everything around. They knew that April and Andy's wedding was going to come after.
As far as I know, they did.
Okay. That would be weird.
But
have them get married and then be like, oh yeah, by the way, I love you.
Right, exactly. Also, if you'll notice, Rob Lowe is not in this episode.
He is not.
Because they were not sure if he was going to return.
Okay, so that's still the same situation as last time. Okay.
Same situation. And then he does come back for camping, which is our next episode.
Yes.
So he does, in fact, return to us, as we know. Spoiler alert, we already know this. But yeah, he's not in Harvest Festival, which is kind of sad, I feel, because it's like such a huge episode.
It's ginormous. But at the same time, it's hard for me to see where they would put him.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, yeah. And even Ben like ducks out after a while. So, yeah.
So
anyway, it worked.
So we're saying this next episode, maybe this is better to use for the next episode, but we're saying next episode is when they've decided that he's staying.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's when he like becomes official. Even though they already have him technically in the credits, like the opening credits, I think because they knew that he was going to be able to stay by the time it aired, probably.
Right. Makes sense.
You know? And also, even if he wasn't staying, they would have just taken him out of the credits. Like, you know what I mean? I think they still wanted him in the credits for the street cred, if you will, for Rob Lowe's name to be on the front. You know? But anyway, okay, so those are my main fun facts to get started.
Perfect.
And then now I'm at the cold opening. Is there anything that you needed to say before then?
No. I got it.
So evidently, side note, this wasn't the original cold open according to my research. So this could be where you're talking about. I'm not really sure. But shortly after the episode aired, they released this episode on the NBC website, and that is what you see today. They did not say what the original cold opening was. However, they did say this cold open was not the original, which is so crazy because you look at it now and you're like, how could anything else open this episode?
How are you supposed to know who Lil Sebastian is if you don't watch this cold open?
I don't know. I'm guessing they would have put it somewhere else, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That is interesting.
But anyway, so Leslie is super excited about the Harvest Festival being tomorrow. And this is where we meet our guy, our pal, little Sebastian. And even Ron, who was so surly about this whole entire meeting at the very beginning, has this high-pitched giggle. And the idea that this town was so small that like this little tiny horse would be famous is so smart and clever and weird. And it's just perfect.
Ron is my favorite. When little Sebastian is around,
I know.
He is amazing, and I just love it. We get to see the kid in Ron. I feel like that's what we're seeing.
Yeah,
you know, the little kid that's in there.
Totally.
And you're right. Like he's just from Pawnee, right, little Sebastian, and he's the 8th most photographed object in North America.
Yes,
why I love it so much.
Oh my god. It's so crazy. That is wild, actually, to think about that. I guess there were so many people that came around to see him. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know what the situation is here with the decoration. So I don't know if you noticed this, but I see in this cold open, it's like the left half of the room doesn't really have decorations and the right half does for the fall. And I didn't know I know there's a box of something on the table, and I feel like that's kind of probably some decorations for Fall Fest, Fall Fest, Harvest Festival.
Same thing.
But there were like leaves on the wall in the background on the right hand side, but the left hand side didn't really have anything. It didn't look like, at least from that opening shot.
Yeah, I didn't catch it. My eye was so drawn to the decorations behind on the right hand side that I was like, I don't even care what's happening on the other side, but that's a good catch.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, maybe they were just gathering everything over there. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, makes sense.
To say. This is also where we find that or see that Ben has no idea what the hell is happening. And he's just like so confused by this because he's not from Pawnee and he doesn't get it. This is also where I think they could have stuck Chris in, and Chris could have been like really excited and made it even more weird for Ben to be like, what? But
that would have been perfect Chris writing, that he would have just joined in on the fun. And over here, Ben's like, what's the deal with this pony? Not a pony, it's a little horse.
Yeah, damn it, Ben.
Mini horse.
Oh my God. Ugh. And I love how serious Leslie gets when he says, I got to be honest, guys, I just don't get it. And she's like, get out.
Get out.
And
he has an honorary
everyone's
decree.
on board. It like truly binds everyone together. Like April, who's not excited about anything. Ron, who's like apathetic about stuff. Chris, Chris Pratt. Andy, who's excited about stuff, but like you don't really know why.
He actually knows what he's excited about.
Yes, exactly.
Because sometimes he acts excited and he has no idea what's going on.
Yeah, same with Tom. Like, it's just so lovely to see the glue that is little Sebastian binding everyone together. It's so lovely.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. I love that he has an honorary degree from Notre Dame.
I know, I do too. I did see some articles that like asked if he actually did. And as far as I could tell, he does not. But obviously, we have to.
That'd be hilarious.
We have to honor the truth of the fiction.
Yes.
It's a great line. I looked up I don't know, you may have done this, but I looked up what is the most photographed things in America. When
I love it. Let's do it.
Yeah, so they said that, or Leslie said that Little Sebastian was the 8th most photographed object, which we talked about. And so she says, suck it, the Alamo, which is weird because I didn't see the Alamo on my list, but perhaps it's lower down. I don't know. I only did the first like 5, I think, because I was like, I don't really care.
Did she give a year?
No.
Like 8th most photographed object that year?
Oh, maybe. You know what? We should go back and look at that because I don't really remember the year. I'm going to type that in so maybe that can be a recap. Maybe it was like the first Harvest Festival or something.
Which was 1980 something.
Yeah.
87 maybe?
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah. Okay. So my research wasn't a year either. It was just like I Googled what's the most photographed things like in general, I guess. So it gave me, the list just in general. But I'll tell you. So the first thing is the Eiffel Tower. So that's number 1.
Yeah, that checks out.
Total makes sense. Number 2 is Big Ben, which is really funny because Big Ben comes back in like the 7th episode or whatever, or 7th season rather.
Doesn't the Eiffel Tower come back too?
Did they go to France? I don't think
Ben and Leslie
France.
go to France for their honeymoon, don't they?
Oh, yeah. they do actually. You're right.
Yeah.
And they put the lock
I just don't
on
know
the
if
fence.
the Eiffel Tower's in there. They do the locks on the bridge, but I don't remember if the Eiffel Tower, they show the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, I don't remember either. Wow. Yeah, wow. Okay, good to know. Crazy. Number 3 is the Louvre, if you will, the museum in France.
Mm-hmm.
And number 4 is the Empire State Building. So
Okay.
America made it in there somehow.
Good job,
also,
guys.
like you said, or like you heard, I did not look up the most photographed objects in America. So that could also be a thing. I looked up the 8th most photographed, or 8th, I keep saying 8th, but the most photographed things in the world. But let's say most photographed things in America. Let's see if that.
What was the 5th one?
I don't know the 5th one. I just wrote number 4.
Oh, okay.
But it said, that's Yelp. What is the most photographed thing in the United States? Walt Disney World. What? Is that real? I mean, there's a lot of... The only reason I can see that being is if you're counting all the family pictures that people take there. Because people take their kids there and they will take millions of pictures of their kids. I mean, I see... There's not really... I don't know how they, I don't know how they track this, because there's a couple articles that are like, what are the most photographed landmarks? And one of them is Balboa Park in San Diego, Space Needle in Seattle, Alcatraz Island, Hearst Castle, the Golden Gate Bridge, Hoover Dam. So, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I wonder, now it's making me wonder, though, what that 5th thing was. Okay, the Louvre, Empire State Building. Oh, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai.
Huh.
And... I feel like I've seen that. Oh, yeah. Is the Burj Khalifa? Yeah, it's the tallest tower in the world and one of the top attractions to visit in Dubai. So, that's interesting. And then Times Square was number 8 or something that I just saw. So, number 8. The Notre Dame Cathedral is number 6. Again, I don't know who exactly tracks this shit, but okay, I'm spending too much time on this.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that. It's got to be based on
intrigued.
if people post pictures and stuff, you know?
Yeah. But, and also some of these articles are from travel websites, not necessarily I don't know. I would assume that maybe the Guinness World Book of Records or something or other like that would do it. I don't know. Or Data Consensus. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. Doesn't matter. The point is that Lil Sebastian is the 8th most photographed thing in America. Okay? All right. So, the reason I wanted to tell you a little bit of a breakdown on Lil Sebastian, if you're cool with that.
Yes, please. Yes.
There's so much information on him. I'll get into his trainer. I did get in touch with his trainer. She has had some snafus with her email, so she didn't send anything for me to play during this recording. But hopefully by next week or, soon she'll be able to send me stuff. But I did find a lot of things on him. She did an interview about him as well. I had some more specific questions because obviously it's me, so I asked her those, and hopefully she will get back on those. But for now, I wanted to tell you a little bit of a backstory, not only on who plays Lil Sebastian, but the story behind him. So, the reason Lil Sebastian came up was because of an article that Alan Yang, aka writer / co-creator of Master of None, aka backbone of Parks, found an article on CNN about the smallest horse, and he said it looked terrifying to him, and so he sent it around to all the writers, and they were just all kind of thinking about all the ways that they could incorporate this in the show somehow, which is so funny to me that that's how a lot of writers' rooms / writers work. They just flop shit around that they find and somehow figure it out. And they were talking about a lot of things that people, I didn't write it down, I should have, but the way that Katie DePold was a big part, she wrote Beauty Pageant. She was a big part of writing this episode too. And she pitched a lot of stuff and she responded back. But that's so fascinating that he just randomly found this article.
Yeah. That's amazing. And look what was born of it.
I know. It's so lovely. Okay, so Lil Sebastian, his real name, so funny, you'll never guess it, but his real name is Gideon.
Oh my gosh. Why?
I know. It's so funny. So Gideon lives on a ranch in Piru, California, which is
Good for him.
I know, which is about 45 minutes away from LA. And he was casted / acquired, if you will, by a company called A-List Animals, which is a group that trains animals for TV film commercials. And the American Humane Association was there the whole time. They were the ones that, or they are the ones rather, that monitor the animal actions on set, making sure everything's safe and compliant with safety hazards and things like that. So that was really exciting. I also researched a little bit of what a miniature horse versus a pony is, because I was like, what?
It's a great question.
Basically, and this is the way. So shout out to Morgan Bateman. Morgan is the trainer for Gideon, aka Little Sebastian, because on the interview that was done, and I do think Morgan is a she, but I'm just going to say they for now. I think I said she earlier, but Morgan is, gender neutral, I feel. So I don't know which. So I'm so sorry.
That's fair.
But anyway, Morgan said that ponies are not proportionate. They have, she said, they said they have big fat heads and big bodies and little legs. If you took, but miniature horses are the exact proportion sizes of a small horse. So if you took a copy machine and copied Little Sebastian, you would end up with a correct sized horse. Whereas ponies do not have proportionate heads to their bodies. Does that make sense?
And their legs are tinier, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the difference, really. That he is literally a horse, but just shrunken down.
Okay.
So...
Nailed it. Good job.
Nailed it. Morgan did this interview with Esquire, by the way, so just wanted to make sure I'm citing my facts. And my favorite, it's so funny. One of the things that they were talking about was about how he has a couple girlfriends on this farm, apparently, and he's like a player, according to Morgan.
Of course he does.
But my favorite quote that Morgan said was, he's pretty outgoing, about Gideon, he's pretty outgoing, but he can be feisty with the other horses. He's a sassy little guy when he wants to be. He's pretty much the smallest guy. He lives with full-sized horses. Actually, one of his girlfriends is humongous.
Oh my gosh.
It made me laugh so hard. I don't know why. It's just the phrasing sounds so funny.
I also think that's hilarious.
Oh my God.
I love it.
So they did ask, I wanted to tell you too, on this farm, this A-List Animals farm, they also have the Old Spice horse, which was actually, do you remember these commercials?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
You guys, if you haven't seen that, Google it. Just look up Old Spice horse and you'll see. But the Old Spice horse was actually multiple horses. It was not just one. It was kind of like when you have twins on set, you switch them out. Pretty crazy. So I asked this question as well, but Esquire, I had more specific questions, like I said, but Esquire did ask Morgan what they liked about being a trainer and also just being on set for Gideon on this, show, basically. And they're quoted as saying, "I liked it all. I thought it was pretty funny. When they did the memorial for him, I'm actually the one walking the other ponies on the stage." So we have to go back and watch that because so that will answer my question of the gender. Not that it matters, but that will answer my question of who this person is. But
perfect.
So I think that's really lovely so we'll have to go back and watch the Bye Bye Little Sebastian episode.
Yes.
And also the names of the other horses on that episode were Coconut and Scout that day.
Love it.
So just FYI.
I
think those two were playing
Those are
Ladybug.
horse names.
I know, totally. I think
Where's
Ladybug
Gideon?
is... Which one is... I know, Gideon. Wasn't it... Oh, no, Coconut. Maybe it really was Coconut. Shit, what were the other...
It's something like
the
that. Or Cinnamon or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, I'll have to look it up. But either way, there were other animals from this A-list celebrity, A-list animal situation that were playing that. Okay, so they were also asked what it was like shooting that memorial, and Morgan said that one of the ponies pooped on the stage. that was real. They were like, of course, they were like, don't clean it up, and they were using like lingo on the walkies. Apparently, they were like, there's a package. Ladybug has dropped a package on the stage. We have to roll with it or something. So like they thought that was so hilarious. Not only Morgan, but obviously the people that were, I guess, like whoever was on set directing or whatever that day were like, oh my God, we have to keep that or do something with it. Or maybe they were just like, well, I don't know what we're gonna do. Like, are we gonna stop rolling so that we can clean the shit? Like, so it basically just kind of happened naturally, and I think that is beautiful.
Yeah, no, I think you go for it. You keep it.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing I really wanted clarification on that I hope Morgan clears up for me is that Leslie says that Lil Sebastian is 25. But in this interview that Morgan did, they stated that horses live to be about 25 to 30 years old. So I feel like if they live to be 25 and he's 25, I feel like it's not true that he had cataracts and had diabetes and all that kind of stuff. Maybe he did, but I don't think that he did because he was an A-list animal. You know what I mean? So I would like to know. Are you saying
in real life?
Yeah, in real life. Sorry. Yeah, like I don't think in real life Gideon had cataracts.
I doubt Gideon is 25, especially if he's still alive.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask Morgan, like, is he in good health? Is he okay? Like, because in the article they do say like he didn't actually die at that memorial time. Get in real life, Lil Sebastian died, but Gideon did not. So that's exciting to know. But I was just curious, you know, the logistics of the ages and things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
So that's kind of what I found on Lil Sebastian, and it was like it made my heart soar so wide and happy and high when I found like when I got in touch with that with Morgan, but also just when I got an email back, I was like, oh my God, we are literally in the midst of celebrities.
Yes, 100%. I know. I was so excited when you texted me that when I finally got your text.
So cute.
Amazing.
Okay, so next I would like to ask you the question of why in the heck is Jerry put in charge of watching Lil Sebastian? This is a huge fucking deal. Nobody trusts Jerry. Why?
I literally have the exact same note.
It is so absurd.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy because nobody trusts him. Although I will say, and I have thoughts about this later, it's not his fault that Sebastian goes missing. Not his fault at all, but what an easy person to blame.
Yeah, totally.
You know, like nobody trusts him. Why are you putting him in charge of that? And part of me in the beginning, in the opening cold open, was, did Leslie put him in charge because she was so excited to surprise everyone else? She didn't care about surprising Jerry.
Maybe so. You know? Maybe so. That could really be interesting.
You saw how excited she was to share that he was there to everybody else. Like, I wonder if that was a part of it.
And I get they're on the same medication, so they have the same medication schedule. That was a really funny line. But yeah, just like overall, it's like, this is a really huge thing to be passing off to someone who you like call the office like nut, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, well, I'm glad you thought the same thing. Okay.
I got you.
So now Leslie is talking to the lady from Sue Salads, a.k.a. Tanya. And Leslie is like, you can't put Sue Salads on Deep Fried Boulevard. I love this lady so much. Yes,
I love their interaction is so great, and I love how against salads Leslie is. Like, we're not going to make money on people hating themselves.
Yes, and it's so funny that line comes back because when she's doing the Entertainment 720 thing, she's like, because I don't hate myself, Tanya. And it's like, oh my God. And I love her delivery on salads are my life.
Yeah.
It was so good. Apparently they improvised a lot with each other, and they on set, you know how on set they like feed you lines if they want to switch out some stuff or like give you alternative lines. Apparently that was one of the lines that they gave her on the day, and they said they were totally taken aback by her line reading, did not expect her to get like so serious with it, and they're like, oh my God, she did amazing. We have to keep that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that was perfect. And it changes the vibe so much. Like Leslie's being all like jokey, mean. Yes. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, fuck, okay. And then she has to straighten up pretty quick.
Yes. She's like, this is serious, okay? Oh my God.
Yeah. It's my life.
It It is my life. But it is interesting, too, because this Sue Salads lady, Tanya, was played by Becky Thayer, who we saw before in Leslie's house. She was the cook/chef that taught at the community center. I don't think those characters are technically the same, but she is the one that comes into Leslie's house and cooks the whole meal and is, you know what I mean? And she's one of the first ones that's like, do think about my cooking or whatever when you're making your decision about the classes, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I never would have put that together.
I mean, she could be the same character, I guess, but I don't think that was the point. You know what I mean? So I just think they liked her so much that they were like, yeah, she can come back. Friendly reminder, she's been in Weeds with our friend, oh my gosh, Freddie from the bar, who I can't remember his real name in real life, but yeah, Freddie from the bar. They've been in Weeds together. She was also in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. She's been in a bunch of stuff. I can't find her contact information, and what's weird is that maybe not weird, but I follow a Becky Thayer. I think I've said this before on the pod. I follow a Becky Thayer on Instagram. Haven't messaged them because I am not sure if it's actually this one, because they post a lot of, like, all they post about is like political stuff, which is good. I agree with all the political things. But I don't, like, there's no pictures of her. There's no pictures of like production. I just don't know who this person is. So I'm like, maybe I'll hold off, but I still follow them just in case.
Safe. Yeah, safe choice.
Yeah. So then they finally say that Sue Salads is going to be the official healthy choice of the Harvest Festival, which doesn't super like solve a bunch, but it helps Tanya feel better. Also, who is Sue is my question. If Tanya is the person
I always
that's
thought
leading
she was going to be Sue.
Me too. I wonder if Sue is her mom. That's what I'm going to say.
I can see that.
Then Leslie has this lovely line of explaining what the Harvest Festival is, saying 7 days, over 30 different locations, 50,000 plus visitors, and 4 hospitality kiosks. And she ends on the boring thing. Clowns.
I am confused. 30 different locations. They're packing up and moving, or they're at 30 different places throughout the town?
30 different places throughout the town.
Okay. That makes... Okay.
Yes,
cool.
I had the same thought, though, because I think I think I say this in one of my notes later on, because she says it again when Joan comes in and interviews her. I don't think I ever realized that or ever put that together, that this is like the Harvest Festival is like the big thing, or like the carnival is the big thing, but the actual festival is spread throughout the town.
Entire
we
town.
had things like that in our, and we had New Year's things like that in my town, where like each independent business or whatever would like be the venue for a certain thing, and it would be like kind of spread throughout the town. So it makes sense. But I totally was just like, it's just the carnival before this research, you know?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah. So then someone's trying to sell home brewed water, which is so weird. She's taking all these meetings with random people. I don't know who this guy is. I really would have loved to find him, because you know me and how much I like to find everybody on IMDb, but couldn't find him. He wasn't, I don't even think he was listed, which is, it may be because he didn't have any lines. That might be why.
Could be.
So yeah. And then, okay, so this part is kind of funky to me. I get it, obviously, because we're building on something. But they're talking about Star Wars and Ben and everything, and it's like super silly. And they, because he gave her a compliment of saying like, you're a ninja mixed with a Jedi, and then they insult him like you're a nerd mixed with a whatever. And I'm like, Leslie, you like him. But I think that, like, according to the commentary, the way they were talking about it seemed like her messing with him is like a flirting situation like they do in middle school, like elementary school. And that was that one thing that when back in the day at Freddy Spaghetti, when Ben said, I wanted to get you to stop singing. That's why I got Freddy Spaghetti, or that's why I like interrupted you or whatever. And Amy Poehler on the commentary of that episode was like, when boys are mean to you, that means they like you.
Yeah, no, I 100% saw it that way. And like, also because she has no space to talk. I think she prides herself on being her own kind of nerd, and she likes Harry Potter. Like, listen, she has no room to talk. So I think it's totally coming from that flirtation side.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so now Ken Hotate is here. This is our first time meeting him. He is the leader of the Wamapoke tribe. I love that they said they used to use possums as currency instead of like money or. It's really hilarious. Also, fun fact: Hotate, according to Alan Yang, is a Japanese word for scallop. There is no reason or rhyme to that, but that is the truth.
Interesting.
I would like to know if this language is real. I didn't hear anything in my research or in the podcast that Alan Yang does, so I don't know if it is. But if anyone is Native American and would like to let me know, that'd be great. I hope that they would use a real language so that it's not like appropriation, but I don't know.
Yeah. It's interesting. That'd be a good question to ask the actor if we can get a hold of him.
Yeah, totally. Hopefully I'll hear back from him. So, speaking of him as the actor, Ken Hotate is played by Jonathan Joss, and he has been in 5 episodes of Parks. Like I said, this is his first. He is most known, as far as I know, for voicing John Redcorn in King of the Hill, which Greg Daniels created.
There you go.
Got a little connection. His website also, like, that's his kind of claim to fame, I would say, and I don't mean that in a negative way. He just like talks. I think that's like that might even be his email or something. I can't remember. There's something like very vividly about John Redcorn on King of the Hill. But he's also been in True Grit, The Forever Purge, Ray Donovan, Walker, Texas Ranger. He has a couple things in production now. So yeah, he's out there. And I also love that Ben tried to speak the language and he totally failed and said something stupid. And I was like, this is hilarious.
Why? This is my thing. I love you, Ben, but why try if you know you're going to fuck it up?
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true.
Like it's different if you like know some words and you're trying to speak to someone, but it's like you have no basis to go off of.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, totally. It's like you just tried to impersonate something that you've never heard before, so it's obviously going to come out wrong. Or like he didn't even ask Leslie, like, wait, so how do you say it, or how did you pronounce? What did you say?
Yeah,
it's just like, yeah, I can do that. Oh my god,
what a dude!
What a guy. So we learned that this carnival, the actual carnival of the Harvest Festival, is the site of the Battle of Indian Hill, which was a 7-day battle that the Wamapoke lost because they didn't have weapons.
Yeah. And
this is one of the, I keep bumping into things. This is one of the darkest, funniest, I think, jokes that they have. Mike sure liked it too, where they show the map of Pawnee, all the atrocities against the Wamapoke. And she says, the atrocities are in blue. And the whole entire thing is blue. It's so perfect.
I love
it's
that
such a perfect
much.
commentary on like our history now, you know?
Yeah, 100%. I love it. I have a little bit of a beef here. Yeah. Right. We're saying that it's on unholy ground, basically. Right. And Ken is warning her that we don't want to interrupt his ancestors. And why are we bringing this up like 15 hours before Harvest Festival is starting? Like, you obviously knew that this was happening here. This is obvious. This can't be the first day you've known that Harvest Festival is going to be happening on this ground. So why are we waiting this late?
Yeah. Well, and especially, okay, this is probably a really stupid question, but we haven't talked about it in 6 episodes because of this arc. Isn't the Harvest Festival on the pit behind Anne's house? Or no?
I thought that part of it was, but I don't think it's big enough. What we do end up seeing, I don't think it's big enough to be housed there.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe that's a great question. We should do some follow-up on that.
Yeah. I think I need to go back to the Go Big or Go Home episode where, because I don't actually, I might have just made that up because I don't actually know if they say that. I don't know if Leslie says that. She just talks about how the Harvest Festival was an olden time thing and she wants to bring it back. But I don't think she actually says where she wants to have it.
I don't know. I honestly don't think it's behind Anne's house just due to the size.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
Yeah. We'll look that up because the reason I asked that is because Leslie has been working on the pit behind Anne's house for 100,000 years. So if he knew it was there, then he would have known that. But yeah, maybe he didn't know until way later, but it doesn't make sense that it would be knowledge now,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I feel like No, maybe not. Maybe I was going to say, I feel like Leslie would have talked to him, but maybe she wouldn't have. Maybe she was just like, look, we're putting the plaque up here and we're doing a Wamapoke exhibit. Like, you know, we're trying. So maybe she figured that was enough.
Yeah, no, I think the thing is, I'm definitely sure that she talked to him beforehand, because how did they get any of the stuff to put in the Wamapoke exhibit?
Yeah.
Like, she
I
probably
guess
had to
that's
go
true.
to them and say, hey, we really want to honor the Wamapokes and we would love to put some stuff in there. So what do you guys have?
Yeah.
And I'm sure he was part of that. I
Maybe he's not the
can't
one that
imagine
runs
you.
that, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
That's
it's
intriguing.
interesting. Mhm.
Yeah, but the point is, that's a great question. Like, why are we talking about this now? Like, literally the day before.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. That's my thing.
Unless, I don't think it's, I don't know. Unless it's not the day before, unless it's like a week before and they're just showing this as a montage. But
I thought she
still,
was saying tomorrow.
She did say tomorrow. Why is she taking all these meetings the day before? That's a great
That's
question.
a great question.
It's not just him.
What the
Maybe one
fuck?
thing it was just him. And he's like, yo, I got
Yeah.
a beef with you that I haven't like thought to bring up until now. But she's meeting with everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
All
That's
right.
interesting
Well,
because is this the morning and then the next day is when she's walking around? Is she in the same clothes? Or is it the same day? It's the morning and then later in the day she's walking around. You know, when Joan shows up.
I don't know. I feel like she's in the same clothes.
Okay. So it's morning
But maybe,
and afternoon.
no, you're probably
that checks
right.
out.
It's probably the next day. You know what? I think that we have to go to Peacock and see. Okay, so in the meeting, she's in the purple shirt with the gray thing, with the gray blazer. Yeah, and then she's walking around, but it probably hasn't opened yet. That's what it is. The Harvest Festival hasn't opened yet. So she's doing the walkthrough in her purple shirt and gray blazer. And then she's talking to Joan in that same outfit. And then the next day, when Ken throws the dirt on Ben and everything, that's when she's wearing something different. So this whole day, she's just putting out fires.
You're right.
Okay.
That's a long day.
Yeah, dude. That's insane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Weird. I know it was over analytical, but I think that's a really valid point of like, why are we just bringing this up now? You know?
Right. Sorry.
Oh
you know me.
So true. No, that's totally true. So he threatens with a curse because she's saying that, you know, she's not going to move the whole entire carnival. And this talking head is so lovely. There are two things I know about white people. They love Rachel Ray and they're terrified of curses.
Love it.
So funny. Oh my God. Apparently also that was an alternate line. Rachel Ray was an alt line. Originally it was they love Matchbox 20 and are terrified of curses.
Okay. Rachel Ray is funnier.
It makes so much more sense, and I also think that Rachel Ray connects to a lot more people than Matchbox 20. People know who
it's also
Matchbox
more
20 is
Midwestern.
Oh yeah, I guess
feel
that's
like.
true. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I feel like people know that band if they like hear the music, but they're not quite sure the name of it just off the top of their head. You know, like my mom knows Rachel Ray, but not Matchbox 20. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So it definitely makes it more funny. Ben comes in. So they're now at the festival. They're doing their little walkthrough moment. She's got the clipboard. Ben comes in and says somebody got Sweetums, so donate another 15 cotton candy machines. It was him, which is so lovely.
Of course.
Then they start doing their little secret handshake. Bazooka, bazooka. It's so funny. And to me, this was like a really monumental moment because Tom says, ugh, get a room. And I think this is kind of the first time that like in public, people are like, yo.
Noticing.
You guys are like, yeah, they're noticing that there's a sexual tension between them. And it's so cute. And they're both so awkward about it. And I love it.
Well, and I don't even know if they're necessarily are aware of the feelings they have for each other. And so to have somebody kind of call it out, Leslie kind of looks a little bit confused for a second.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I feel like
interesting.
I almost think that she's like, well, they're both kind of are. They're both like feeling it out, but they also, I feel like, are being a little bit like in denial about their feelings a tiny bit. Like when Leslie lets out like to Shauna Maui Tweep, like, and he's not bad on the eyes either in that last episode. It's like you said, she's kind of like, oh, where did that come from? She
You're
like
right.
laughs it off kind of thing. So yeah, I thought that was really monumental to me to see Tom say that in front of everybody.
Oh, yeah.
So
100%.
Then we get the eagle-eyed tiger.
Eagle-eyed tiger, new band-aid, I call it.
Jinx.
I love it so much. I also love that Ron's like, yeah, I'm not holding anyone's hand, and he just like stands behind everyone.
I know, it's so awkward. He's like,
so
just kind of touching his hand in, but like not actually touching. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, I love Leslie's line too. Leslie says, I want you all to focus on having fun and not on the fact that if everything goes wrong, we're all going to lose our jobs.
And Ben says, that's not inspiring.
I know. Didn't you feel, and maybe you didn't in the moment, but like when I was watching it, I felt like that was such foreshadowing to how he talks to her when they're married / like dating / like more into 100%. It. You know what I mean? Like that is totally the basis of their relationship. She says something crazy and he's like, that's not what we should say.
Yeah, he bounces her out. He kind of brings her back down a little bit, you know. He does it during her campaign all the time too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love that. Yay. It's so cute.
Yeah.
Okay. So Ron says Leslie does everything, so he never has to do anything anyway. And the reason he's saying that is because Leslie's like, if you've got any problems, direct them to Ron. And he's like, I don't got to do nothing anyway.
Right.
So he's reading this book called The Nutmeg of Consolation by Patrick O'Brien. Little bit of a breakdown on this. It is the 14th book in a series called Aubrey Maturin. And it's set during the Napoleonic Wars and the War of 1812. And it does focus on the historical fiction of those battles being on boats and ships, because he talks about like, I get to read this book about old boats or whatever.
Yeah.
And apparently this book was made into a movie called Master and Commander with Russell Crowe. You know that movie?
I've never seen that.
I haven't either, but that's apparently what it's based on.
Huh. I really like war movies too, so I'll have to add that to the list.
Yeah, definitely. So now I'm at where Donna's talking to Anne. Do you have anything else before that?
No, I just love this interaction. We don't get to see Donna and Anne interact a lot. And so this is really cool to get to see this relationship. And also because Leslie isn't super out there romantically, right? Or socially even. And so Anne is getting this advice from someone, advice she can't get from Leslie. And so it's really interesting to get to see Donna kind of open Anne up to be, you know, you don't have to operate in this little box. You know, there are no rules anymore. You are a strong, independent woman. Go for what you want, you know? So I love seeing this. I will say, I don't know if we just don't get to see the full extent of the Anne-Chris relationship, or if there's more an existential crisis with Anne because she didn't realize that Chris was breaking up with her, and that's kind of the bomb where like, whoa. But she's taken this breakup harder than she took the breakup with Andy. And it's like, girl, like, am I missing something?
That's so true. That's fascinating. You know, I think that you're onto something though, where she, probably is taking it harder because she didn't know it was happening. Whereas I feel like with Andy, like she kind of saw it coming, even though she didn't want to admit it. Like she kind of saw that was probably how it was going to end, you know? So I'm very intrigued by that.
Yeah. I think,
great question.
I think you're right there. Like, I think it is more that piece of it. She didn't know, because she holds herself as a very self-aware, very confident person.
Totally.
And in this moment, she was pushed down. So you're right. It probably is that one.
Yeah. Yeah. It is definitely like buying all the candles from Anthropology and like all the things that she
dyeing her hair.
Yeah, totally. I do think that like, cause she even said like, she explains that he broke up with her in a nice way, so she didn't know it. And then Donna said like she's done that to multiple men. So I do feel like you're onto something with that being the reason why. And then it's so funny because Donna asks how Anne is doing, and Anne is just like waiting for someone to ask her that. She spouts off about how it's been and all the things that we were just talking about. And it's funny because you would think from this interaction that she hasn't really talked about it yet, but then she ends it with, that's what the mailman said when Donna says to bottle things up. And so she's just been like spouting off and really needing to talk about this, I guess, to everyone. And apparently that was also an alt line too. Like that's what my mailman said. That's so funny.
That's great. I'm also wondering if, because sometimes we do this as well, is not only does she feel like there could be this piece where she feels like she has to talk to someone about all these people about it, or sometimes what we do as humans is if we're not getting the right answer that we want to hear from one person, we go to the next person. So I'm almost wondering if that's what she's doing too.
Yes, I think that's true. It's probably a mixture of both. That's so real.
Yeah.
Retta said on the commentary that this tent is a soundstage.
Oh, wouldn't have caught that,
crazy.
honestly. Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, you really don't see like the outside of the tent at all. So
no. Well,
I don't know.
The lighting is very interesting in there too. They do a good job with like the lighting to make you think it's a tent.
Yeah. I mean, unless I misheard her, but she acted like she was not on location that day. So that's pretty insane to me.
It is interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're at where Joan is back, and she's doing some vocal warm-ups. Murder the most melons. I love that so much. And her little apathetic handshake of like she puts her hand out to shake Ben's hand and then she just lets it hang. She doesn't actually shake. It's so subtle, and Mo Collins is just such a genius when she plays Joan. Yeah. I mean anything, but especially Joan. It's just like so beautifully done. I love it so much.
I agree. I love her portrayal so much, and she's fishing for what's gonna go wrong. And Leslie and Ben, they have an answer for everything. Of course they do. They're Leslie and Ben, right? But it's so cool. And I love this moment where I don't know what the biggest deal is, but it's like they got Tilda, right? Larry Bird's grandma, to sign stuff. Yes. And she's like, you got Tilda? Like so excited.
I know. That is amazing. I love that. Yes. All the things that you said, about like the answers. It's Pawnee corn and it's organic. It's not Pinkleton. I love that so much. And then, Larry Bird's 84-year-old Aunt Tilda. That's like the thing that they talked about that Alan Yang talked a lot about this, and Mike Schur as well, where like these were the things or the brilliant ideas that the writers came up with of like such a small town having these tiny little, not tiny, but like these people that are not famous literally anywhere else be such a huge deal in this small town. And I love it. Aunt Tilda is not real. That's a fictional thing, unfortunately. Not Larry Bird's real aunt. But I wanted to find this lady who posed for this picture. I'm sure it was through Central Casting or something, but I couldn't find her. And I'm like, lady, I want to talk to her.
I know. She looks so cool, huh?
Mm-hmm. It's so funny. And then we get like that gross thing of Tom and Joan together. Like Joan got her breast done, and she's like, and this is where Joan, I think, again, we're starting to see how like unhinged a little bit she is. Maybe where she was like, instead of being like, oh, why are you talking to me about that? She's like, thanks for noticing. Oh my god,
yeah,
so funny,
so weird. He
when then he says foot massage to completion. No.
That's disgusting.
And Ben is like, good Lord. It's so funny. Yeah. That's like his catchphrase is what they said that this episode kind of started was him saying, good Lord.
That's amazing. Yeah, his reaction to that. I also have to like backtrack to when Joan sees little Sebastian.
Yes.
Ben's face. Just camera, he still doesn't get it. I love it. Just the consistency is amazing.
I know. I do too. He's the only one that doesn't get it. I love this line of April and Andy. Andy has some phenomenal lines in this one, but especially when he says he doesn't understand. It's like they don't want you to win this.
They don't. Surprise.
Don't. Did you ever watch? Wait, was it Joe Dirt? Have you ever seen Joe Dirt?
No.
Oh my God,
Why
have
does
to
that
watch
sound
Joe
familiar?
Dirt. You've probably seen it. David Spade is in it, and he plays like the guy with the mullet. Oh my God. I'm sure you'll
sounds
look it up.
so familiar.
Well, the point is, it's an old movie. Old. It's not old. It's older, I guess.
Like 90s or whatever.
Yeah, I think maybe early 2000s or something. But it's fucking hilarious. It's such a good film. I love it so much. David Spade is perfect, obviously. But he plays a carnival worker, and he sprays Pam on the little like things so that the ball doesn't go in, but it just like slides right off.
Oh my gosh.
So funny.
That's so funny and accurate.
Yes.
It's so hard to win.
So good. And then we get to the awful moment, or not awful, but like super awkward. She does like the cute kiss. She pulls him in, and she's like, you can tell she's trying to be really vulnerable in this moment. She's just like, I'm just gonna say it. You can see that in her eyes.
For
Great
her.
acting. Yes.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, I love you. And I love that she says, hey, I love you, because that's just like such a character writing moment. And it was perfect. And then
Yeah, she's trying to keep it casual, but she's saying something super heavy.
Yes.
That's so April.
Oh my God. And then Andy responds in the most Andiest way. And he says, awesome sauce, and then goes in for a high five. But before that, he says, dude, shut up. Oh,
yeah.
Andy.
There's a lot of pieces here where I'm not thrilled with how April handles everything following this moment.
Yeah.
But I understand why she's upset, because also if you also like if Ivan said, dude, awesome sauce, and high fived
after I said I love
instead
you,
of kissed me. Yeah.
Yeah, and I probably haven't said that to anyone ever.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
WTF.
He just the self-awareness, the social awareness of that situation for Andy is very low.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my God. Well, so then we kind of cover that up moment where you have like a kind of WTF is happening. And we cut to Tom looking after little Sebastian because Jerry is going to leave for a second. I like Tom's voice for little Sebastian. And
yes, I love
like
it.
Little southern accent moment. It's so funny. Then he does like that snake hole lounge cover up thing for little Sebastian and had the mini horse erection.
Did he ask? Did he?
No, he didn't ask. Are you kidding me? He just did that.
Yeah, because I'm on board with that, with Snake Hole being able to put something on the horse, but they need to pay for it.
Yeah, that's true. I highly doubt that he did that. But it's really funny to me that he like went and made this or had this made for Lil Sebastian. Like,
right.
Like the day of or something. You know what I mean?
I know. You're right. Because he didn't even know Lil Sebastian was going to be there.
I know. So
oh my gosh.
I'm sure it was like he has a guy probably, much like he has a guy who makes all of his keys for the women or whatever. Like that. I don't know. I'm sure that had to have happened.
Stupid.
Yeah. Okay. I did add, this is so dumb, but I did kind of not so discreetly, but kind of funnily ask Morgan Bateman, the trainer for Lil Sebastian or Gideon, if this little erection thing was real. So I don't know if she'll message back, but
I highly doubt it is, but it would make me so happy if it was.
I don't think it is real because like the actual like outline of the blur is so long. I'm like, this can't be right.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. Okay.
That's amazing.
Next thing I wanted to ask you about before I get on a laughing spell about this mini horse erection is Ben has this talking head where he was like, because Joan's talking to him about Icetown, and Ben's like, well, I was also shortstop in my high school baseball team, but no one ever talks about that. Like, what? He played baseball?
Yeah.
That doesn't seem right to me.
Good times. Yeah.
But
well, let's be fair. It's JV.
Yeah.
So he wasn't like the most athletic in the school.
Also,
if he had made it to varsity.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if he had made it to varsity in his senior year, which is a lot of times what happens, some people don't make it until they're in their senior year. Like, he would have said, I played varsity. So he played JV the whole time. So I mean, he probably wasn't great.
You're right.
But he did it.
Yeah, he did it. Who did it? Okay.
Yeah.
No, and it's not like the most.
It would have made more sense
thing
to say he played in band.
Right. Yes, thank you. That's all I meant. That's all I meant to say. I'm not saying that he's not good or whatever. But yeah, like something a little bit more in line with him. But at the same time, like I said, he also, or like I was about to say, I guess, he did talk about like a lot of baseball shit in that one. I mean, that was because of Mike Schur, but that one episode where Leslie gives the speech about the Harvest Festival, and he's like saying all the sports metaphors or whatever. So I mean, it's fine. It's nothing to harp about. But I was just like, oh, that's an interesting little tidbit. But anyway, so then Ben compliments Leslie and says this like really heartfelt thing, and Jonah's like, I'm a reporter, not your therapist. And I thought that was a really funny line.
I know, because she's fucking asking for it. She just doesn't want the good stuff, like the heartfelt stuff. She wants the drama. That's why she looks Leslie straight in the face when they say curse, and she comes back and she goes, gotcha.
Yes.
And I'm like, ugh.
Gotcha journalism.
Yeah, I hate it.
How is this gotcha journalism? It says gotcha right there on my face.
Yeah. How?
So now Tom is on the phone talking about the Snake Hole Lounge and how he's like super cool, and his back is to Lil Sebastian, and he turns around, the gate is left open, and now we don't know where Lil Sebastian went, and he is lost, and terrible things occur. Okay, Tom. Awful.
It's all his fault.
It is. It really is. I mean, come on.
Like, we just learned that you can trust Jerry with a task more than you can trust Tom.
I know. Yeah, and it's like, if you're going to be on the phone, you could at least have been facing him or something, you know?
Yeah. Well,
Weird.
and don't leave the gate open, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how did that even happen, sir?
Well, I just think he got a phone call, and he walked out, and he didn't make sure he closed it all the way.
Yeah, you're so right. Ugh, Tom.
So,
well, we're almost wrapped up with Joan, and that's what sucks, because Joan actually has a nice moment, and she says, well, you know, I don't want to say this, but the festival will be well worth your time. I do think it's a little obnoxious, and I totally see how this is funny and consistent with the show, but how Leslie ruins it by like coming in with her cotton candy, and she gets the last word and not Joan. She's like, come on down, everybody.
right.
And I'm like, oh, Leslie, just let her have this, you know?
Yeah.
And she says, great job. Jonah's like, you know, great job with this. This is good. And they're like, okay,
Yeah.
great. Oh my God, we did it. And
We did it.
this is when she does that thing that you said, you know, take that curse, blah, blah, blah. And Jonah's like, what curse? Oh my God. She literally runs back up and like does that kind of cartoonish, like screech halt thing. And then Tom runs up. After they were like, no, there's nothing. There's no curse. Whatever. That's fine. Tom runs up and says, Lil Sebastian is gone and ruins everything. And then this is when Joan really takes advantage. And this is fucking hilarious to me as far as like the news reporting that goes on with this kind of thing where he's like, they're like, okay, start the cameras back up again. We need a new intro, chipped paint, crying babies. Like, you know the deal. It's so funny.
I love that line. I have that written down because of that.
Yes. It's so good. Ugh. Okay, the next thing I have is where they are in the tent talking about how they're going to like fix this. Do you have anything before that though?
No, but this is one of the things where I don't know if this was in the original. I don't remember this.
Okay, interesting.
I remember the poop NATO, but I don't remember the
classic four-rod disaster.
Yeah.
Because she says it's like a storm and then it's a lightning storm on top of this, on top of that, a classic four-rod disaster. And Ben's like, oh yeah, that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Exactly
I don't
that.
know. I don't think that was added in as far as I know. But maybe.
Huh. Like the part where he says we lost the little pony. And then, he says, do people in this town really believe in curses? And I don't think I remember him saying that. I just remember it going straight into Leslie saying the people of Pawnee are very superstitious. There was a guy who took a rabbit out of his hat and was burned at the stake in 1973.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
God.
So I don't know if I'm just crazy and I like part of my brain was like not paying attention or if that was added. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either. I think it's been in there. I mean, they didn't say that, but I don't know. Maybe not. But regardless, this joke is so funny that the mob or a mob burned a magician at the stake. And something that's really hilarious that I found in my research, I would not have known this unless they pointed it out. It's a really funny visual joke that they also execute the rabbit. Did you see this?
Oh my gosh. Are you serious? I did not catch that at
Maddie,
all.
I don't say this often. I don't often say to you, you have to go back and watch that one thing. I'm like, oh yeah, you'll see it next time. You have to go, or I'll take a picture of it. You have to go back and watch it because they show the mural and you're just focused on the mob getting the guy. But on the other side of the guy chained to the stake is the little rabbit at the very bottom of the pole strapped to the stake.
The poor rabbit. He didn't do anything.
Oh my God. They thought they were both. And like the
gosh.
fact that it was in the 70s is fucking gold. It's so good. Oh my God.
I know. Well, and the way it's written too is the year was 1973.
Oh my God.
So well done.
Then we get to this. This part was weird to me. I didn't think it made sense, or I just didn't think it. I don't know. It's not. I struggle saying this because I love the show so much, but I just didn't think it was necessary or funny, really. The thing of like Jerry getting the tongue twister thing, like, what are do gonna I, what are you gonna do, or whatever the hell. I was like, I don't need it, but I'm just being picky. I don't know. I'm being stupid, but I was just like,
yeah,
okay.
I don't need it either. I think the only thing it really adds is Tom finding another way to put Jerry down.
Yes. That's so true.
But poor Jerry.
I know. Well, and then Ron finally like comes in and he's like being kind of like parental and he's like, what the fuck happened? And April keeps passive aggressively like firing shots at Andy. And now Ron is like, okay, listen, everybody has to find little Sebastian because you guys got to get your shit together. Okay. And so they're all like on a task. They are each given like areas.
Don't remember this either.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, this part I could see them not really putting in the show if that is true, because if you were to just show the scenes of them looking, you'd be like, oh, I know what they're doing, you know?
Yeah, I always just remember going straight into everybody's looking for Lil Sebastian.
Huh. Okay.
Everybody who listens, please feel free to message and tell me that I'm insane.
No, no, not the insane. Say if you feel the same way.
Yeah. Or either way, if you're like, you've seen it or you haven't seen it, then yeah.
Yeah, totally. I would be very intrigued to know that because I know that they add in a lot, like once it finally gets to Peacock or the DVDs or whatever. So totally.
Yeah.
Okay. So Anne says that a reporter came in talking about a curse and she's like, oh my God, did you say no comment? Don't say anything to anyone about anything for the rest of the month. And it's like, okay.
I said no comment. Yep. I got you.
Yes. I love this next little scene of Ken's being interviewed by Perd and this cartoon animation thing. It's of like what happened in the event. Like Leslie's moving her hips as a cartoon and shaking her hand that she like basically becomes an exorcist with the red eyes and the ghosts infesting her. I love this
it's so
much.
racist.
Oh my God. It's so bad. It's so bad. And then Perd's like, is that like an accurate description? And Ken is like, yes, that's exactly what happened.
That's my favorite thing is because it's like, it's obviously so wrong and not okay.
Yes.
And he's just like, yeah, fuck it. This is going to get me what I want.
Oh my gosh. They said it multiple times and I forgot to write it down, but this is like an Asian technique. They either said Japanese or Vietnamese, maybe. Shit, I forgot. This is going to sound really awful, I'm sure. But it's of Asian like origin, this whole animation of what actually happened. And then they used that in this episode, which is so funny. I love also that Perd says number 1 in curse coverage.
I know. The curse watch. It flashes on the screen. The curse watch.
Yes.
Love it.
Oh my God. Okay, so now I'm at where April and Andy are searching. Do you have anything before that?
Yeah. No. Andy's kind of starting to like catch on to April
Andy
not
has
being,
this lovely
not being okay.
Yep. And Andy has that lovely line of he would hide in the merry-go-round if he was a horse or a tiny horse because he could just blend in with the other horses. Super smart.
Exactly. So smart. So smart.
And then April is doing her classic thing where she avoids her feelings and then she's going to go to Venezuela forever. And that's like her classic thing of whenever it's really funny actually that whenever she wants to like, I don't know, be petulant or immature, she's like, okay, I'm just going to go to Venezuela. Bye. And Andy's like, you're not fine. Yeah. I can read you like the back of a book. I love that character choice so much that Andy is not actually reading the book. He's just reading the back of the book.
Yes.
So
100%.
Good.
I love it so much. It's very to his character. We were talking about this in the last episode we recorded. Like, it's childish. Like, this could be solved with a very simple 2-minute conversation, as we find out later in the episode. Like, it's just so childish. And it makes me interested to know, what do we not see of their relationship moving forward in the series? Because I don't feel like we go through a lot of times where they have trouble in their relationship. I feel like they're pretty stable and solid. You know,
that's very intriguing.
So
and especially like when they get married. Yeah. Yeah. When they get married, I think they're way better at communication and April kind of grows up a little and so does Andy. So yeah, that's a really good point. True love can't be questioned, you know?
No, this is true. Let's just not even try to touch it.
But you make a valid point. I also love his line of this maze is like a maze. It's so stupid.
I know. I don't know if you noticed this. So they, the way they spelled it on the closed captions on Peacock was Maize.
Yes.
It's like a maze, Maze.
Yes, I was going to tell that to you as well, because there was a joke that's what that either Andy or somebody else thought that's why they call it maize, because of like the Spanish word for corn is maize. Or how do you pronounce it? Maize? Is it just maize?
Maize.
Maize. Okay.
Maize.
So like somebody thinks, or I can't, it's probably Andy, but it's like, oh, that's why they call it maize, because of the maze. That was another joke, but that joke got cut.
That's so
And they
funny.
said this maze is like a maze instead. So yes, they must have just done that in the closed captions.
I think that goes over people's heads, honestly, if I'm being completely honest with you. I think unless you're watching the with the subtitles, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so much funnier than what I thought it was.
Yeah, it's so funny. Okay, so now I'm at where they're in the tent. Anna's being a nurse to this super buff dude. It's talked about quite a bit in my research and online that this was super weird as far as this character being a Jersey Shore fellow in Pawnee. Everybody was like, why did we do this? Doesn't make sense.
It's a great question. I also don't know why you did this.
Yeah, it was just really funny. I mean, I'm so glad that they like worked it out and whatever, but when you're watching this, you're like, what the fuck is this guy doing here? I think that they just wanted like a beefcake dummy kind of, you know? And I guess that's just what happened as far as casting goes. But yeah, the line of Anne saying, are you experiencing abdominal pain? And then he's like, every day in the gym. And Donna's face in the background is so funny. She's like,
know, it's priceless.
Jaw dropped. Oh my God.
Yes.
And Anne does feel his stomach, which I think is so hilarious.
It's kind of off a character for her.
Yeah, totally. And because she's just in this thing. And I love that, like you said, Donna's kind of guiding her. She's getting a different perspective on how to deal with dudes. And Donna's like, are you going to hit that? And I love this line of use him, abuse him, lose him.
Lose him.
Oh my God. I want this energy so much. I need it. Oh, it's so good. And then she talks about her Grammy Meagle taught her that. And she died at the age of 84, sandwiched between two 30-year-olds. I love that.
Yeah. Ugh. And it's delivered so gracefully.
Retta was perfect. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So good.
It's amazing.
Quick breakdown on this Jersey Shore out of place moment. This guy's name is Joseph Russo. He goes by Joey, though, I think, in like, you know, his real world. But he's been in The Irishman, that show with what's his ass, Robert De Niro. He was in Jersey Boys. What?
What's his ass?
Oh.
You mean only one
guy.
of the best actors ever?
I know.
That's fine.
What's his
No
ass?
big
Like
deal.
Leo DiCaprio, whatever his name is? No. He was also in this show called The Offer, which is that show that Miles Teller is in that talks about the story of making The Godfather. Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't, but I love Miles Teller.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, but I've seen the previews and it looks really good. So, anyway, so that's who Joey Russo is. He did a great job. We'll come back to him later. But now Ron has this idea for getting a bird's eye view so that they can see everything from the top, and maybe they'll get to see little Sebastian from the top. So they go to the top of the Ferris wheel. And this is when I'm getting some information from Shauna, our friend Shauna Hagen, who is the camera operator for the show. I asked her some very specific questions as far as like, you know, props and sets and all these things. She did have some stuff to say also about the aerial shot at the end, which we'll get to. But I asked her about the Ferris wheel specifically. I know this. I told her too. I was like, I know this is probably a really dumb question, but was that Ferris wheel real? Because I'm curious if they just sat on top of something and made it look like a Ferris wheel. Like, was it real? And she said that, yes, it was real. I'll read this email section. She said, yes, the Ferris wheel was real. I remember the two of them sitting up there. I was assigned a high camera position atop a scaffolding to get the camera angle to the same height that they were. Pretty fun and sort of scary being up that high. Shot at night, and I do remember being a little chilly up there, so probably not too hot. Because I asked her about the heat, because they talked about the heat so much. And so, wait. No. I was gonna, never mind. Maybe they shot it in November. Because I'm so confused. I don't understand. Because they were saying if they shot it when it was actually supposed to be shot, which would have been October, it was a really hot month. So they didn't shoot it in October. That's what that means, Maddie. Don't you think?
Okay, yeah. And then that would make sense that they shot April and Andy's wedding in October. They swapped them.
So I think they shot it in like the end. Yeah, I think they shot at the end of November when it starts to get colder in LA. That's why. Oh my God. I don't know why I couldn't figure that fucking shit out. That's what he meant by.
I was right there with you. I was also confused.
Yeah, that's what he meant by if we shot it in October, we would have died because it would have been 148 degrees. But they probably shot it in like November when the harvest was still around. Therefore, it was probably only like 100 degrees instead, or 99 or something. Oh, thank you, Jesus, for getting me through that. Okay. So anyway, back to Shauna. Thank you so much. Shauna said that the Ferris wheel was real and that she was on top of this huge scaffolding, which is kind of insane to think about. And we love Shauna so much. Go watch Welcome to Flatch on Fox. I'm going to link that in the show notes as well. She's working on that. She's like super busy right now, but that's like the big one. So go watch that. It's another mockumentary situation. Paul Feig is also attached to it. So please give her some love. Okay. With that taken care of, Ben is now being interviewed by another reporter that brings up Icetown. This is a new reporter. I hate this guy. I'm like, come on. We've talked about this 1,000 times. Why do we need to talk about this? Oh my God.
We don't need to.
I was going to tell you something too. I learned on Office Ladies, they're talking about woof.com.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
They said that on TV, you can't have a real website talked about. Like you can't state the name of a real website on a TV show. So that is why I think, and I mean, it worked because it was so funny, but I think that's why Ben says Alta Vista so much instead of like Yahoo or Google or whatever. It makes sense because it was a real website, but it's no longer real. And it was like back in the day. So it makes sense for Pawnee because they're stuck in the past. But why they like don't go on Facebook when they're like on the Googles or on their computers or whatever. And I was like, oh my God.
Right.
That's crazy.
Interesting.
So anyway, I just
good to know.
Thought I'd bring that up because, okay, the reason I brought Alta Vista up is because, again, we're talking about Icetown, which is how everyone found out about Icetown, blah, blah, blah. I don't understand like what more these people want. He cleared his name. He's doing his thing. Whatever.
Just more negativity.
Yeah. It's something to grab onto as a reporter, I suppose, too.
I hate that.
Yeah, me too.
Sorry. I was just going to say, I hate that Ben latches on to this comment from this reporter that he is the bad luck.
Yeah.
Like, you are a grown adult, and I know you're smarter than that, my friend. Like, it was just a super vulnerable moment for Ben to be like, you know what? You're right. So I'm going to leave.
He got real dark real fast. Yeah, that's super true. This reporter's name who asks him about Icetown again is because basically this reporter was like, first Icetown, now this, blah, 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 blah. And that's what sparks Ben being like, yeah, maybe it is me. This reporter's name in real life, this actor is played by Christopher Lusty. He's been in Hacks, Boss Baby, Fresh Off the Boat. Apparently he wrote a short film called Leave 'Em Laughing, which won Best Screenplay at the Austin Indie Fest. And I think that's worth mentioning, so good for you.
Yeah.
So.
Like it.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so now I'm out where Leslie's having a press conference. Do you have anything else on that? Or before that?
I do not.
Okay. So Leslie's having this press conference. She's addressing their concerns. She's like, there's plenty of food. There's no food shortage. There's not dozens of escaped convicts. No one's feasting on petting zoo animals. Like, nothing is going wrong. You're totally fine. And then the electricity shuts off. And right before that, she says she's moved the shooting gallery per the Wamapoke request. And she's about to say, like, you know as well as I do that there's no curse, but then everything shuts off and it's really awful. Yeah. And it's right in the middle of her making the point that there's no curse when there clearly, according to the reporters, is a curse. It's very sad.
Right. Which we shortly find out that the outage is really the reporter's fault.
Exactly. Totally. It's so catch-22, like ironic, I suppose you could say. Stupid.
Yeah.
Tom keeps saying Jerry's fault also, which is so annoying. Like he does that little chant of Jerry's fault. ugh. So frustrating. Yeah. And then this is where Ben is like, look, I should just go because I think I'm jinxed. And he thinks that the curse is him because he doesn't. What's funny is that in this episode, I could 100% see a little bit more how much they've worked together and how much Ben helped as well as Leslie. Like, I know Leslie did a lot of the heavy lifting, but Ben did so much too. And he just doesn't
really
see that it's like their team. But he's in this trauma, man. That's what it'll do. You know, it just keeps coming back until you stab it. So anyways, so I was wondering how they did this pause on the Ferris wheel. Obviously, since it was a real one, I'm sure they just paused it. I should have asked also, I'm sure that they had like safety officers and stuff around to like operate it kind of thing. But you'll notice that when they do stop it, the moon was cut into the side of the screen. It was like there was a little crescent moon. And I do believe, according to the commentary, it was a real moon, but Dean cut that moon from another shot. Like he got another shot somewhere else and like cut it out and pasted it onto the scene with the Ferris wheel.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Okay. Yeah, that's crazy.
Movie magic.
Looks totally normal.
Yeah.
So I think it's a blessing that the power went out because I don't know if you noticed before, but the Ferris wheel was moving so fast.
Was
there's
it?
no way. And also, there's no way you were going to catch little Sebastian with how little time you were having. But also nobody was paying attention. Everybody's fighting.
That's true. That's so true. So until it was stopped, you're right. That's true. Until it was stopped, Ron couldn't have his like dad moment, parental moment and like explain everything to the dummies being like, listen, this is also really interesting. I love when we talked about this a little bit before. I love these moments when he shows his leadership, because it kind of reminds me of how they talked about Michael Scott. Like if he's going to be like so crazy and wild, he has to have moments of competence and intelligence and whatever. And being able to relate to his employees. And I feel like this is what happens with Ron, where like for the majority, he's apathetic, he's a libertarian, he doesn't like this, and he doesn't care for his coworkers or anyone around. But then he shows these really soft / like parental, like dad moments. And it really shows his like, you know, his soft spots, which I think is really sweet.
Yeah, I love it. And usually the only time we've really seen it up until this point is with Leslie. So now we're getting to see it with everyone else. And he's kind of stepping in and that's true. But but he's stepping in here and the first thing he addresses is the awesome sauce thing. And how does he know, Holly?
I know. I thought about that too. I'm sure.
I'm wondering if April went to him.
I don't know. A part of me, that could be right. I was thinking that Ron was in an area where he could kind of see everything that was happening and maybe hear everything that was happening, even though he wasn't like close. I don't know. In my head, I think I pictured, I don't think that they did this on camera, but in my head, I kind of pictured that game that Andy and April were playing like next to Little Sebastian, and Little Sebastian was like next to where Ron was sitting. But I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I like that.
Who's to say?
Okay.
It makes it more mysterious for Ron to just be all-knowing.
That's so true.
But who knows?
So true.
I love this line, though, of Andy saying, like, I do love you. That's what makes us all so awesome. It's so cute.
It is very cute.
And he could have just said that if April was like, what the fuck, bro? You know?
Yeah.
But I get it. Okay, so now we're at where this electrician fellow comes in named Ed, and Leslie is saying, you know, I got the TMK 2500 for the extra capacity, which is the generator. And I love how Ed's like attracted to her real fast. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, because he's like, oh, she knows what she's talking about.
Right. And he's like, not now, Ed. Or she says that. Apparently, like you said, the TV crews overloaded it. It was not the curse or the carnival itself. You know, it wasn't even all the lights for the rides. It was the TV crews. This electrician, by the way, is named Vincent Angelo, and he's been in Grey's Anatomy, iCarly, House, a bunch of other things. And he plays a vendor in the counseling episode of The Office, which I can't remember which episode that was. I thought the counseling episode was the one with Toby and Michael. Maybe I'm wrong.
That's what I thought.
So I don't know what episode that is, but he was in The Office, which is really exciting to me. So, and yeah, I thought you were thinking about something.
I might figure it out.
Okay. I know this will be our fun game. But Vincent, who plays Ed, is also a huge stunt guy. Like, he's been the action coordinator for a ton of projects, which is really cool. I feel that he was on this one, you know, as an actor. So that's pretty dope. And then, yeah, so the only other generator for this amount of power would be from Ken, which is the circle of life. Ken Hotate has the generator we need.
Of course. Side note, could he have been the one of the guys at the store where Dwight's going back to do his Pretty Woman moment?
Maybe.
That's the only vendor I could think of that would be in that episode.
Because there was the main guy and then there was the manager guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or no?
Yeah. Yeah, there's two workers there.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to I'm going to highlight that one too. Okay. Okay. All right. So Leslie goes back to Ken at the Wamapoke Casino. Ken is so smug. She also suggests to have the Wamapoke exhibit inside the carnival. So you have to look at it before you have fun. And I thought that, I was like, why didn't she do that at the beginning?
In the first place. Yeah.
But I get it.
Yeah. Also, she's going to move that in the next 12 hours before they open.
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
I know she's going to have some hard work ahead of her, but I'm sure she has people that she can like ask to do it, but still that's a lot.
They're going to be super stoked about it.
Yeah, totally. Side note, this is a fakey casino. The exterior, I think, is just like a stock shot, according to Shauna. I asked her. She said that she doesn't really remember about what the outside was, but she was like, I'm pretty positive it's a stock shot that they added the name and the signage with like some sort of VFX. But
the signage, if you notice, says Rachel Ray tonight, which I'm excited about. Nice follow through, guys.
Yes, that callback is hilarious. Rachel Ray's coming to Pawnee. Oh my God.
Yeah. No way.
So funny. Yeah. So I think that's what she means by like, I think that outside with Rachel Ray and everything was added in like with CGI a little bit later, like they do for a lot of like building signs and stuff. But she thinks / she was like, I'm pretty certain the interiors, that fakey set thing was the production. So they must have, and by must have, I know that they did. They brought in a bunch of like slot machines and, you know, gambling games and things like that. And then when she's actually in his office, you'll notice like behind her, you see the casino moving around and stuff. That was a screen. You don't see as many people because like when she has that talking head, like inside the casino, you know, you see people and gamblers and like tourists and stuff like around or whatever. So that makes sense that the inside is like a little bit more real. But yeah, that was really interesting to me because that casino looked like it was pretty big time.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Great job.
It's probably the only one they have.
Right. Okay, then this is where Anne takes Donna's advice and makes out with this dude until the lights come back on. I thought that was really good for her. I was proud of her.
Beat it, Donna.
Beat it. Got it. What did she say? Did she say aye, aye, Captain? I think that's what she says. Aye, aye, Captain,
I think so.
or something like that. So good. Okay, so now we are at the press conference that Ken comes to, and I just love how they wrote how he takes advantage of white people. Like, it's the best. I love this. He does this chant, and the subtitles say he's just making up words, and then the doobie doobie do thing. I love that so much.
It's amazing. I love it.
Also,
I agree with you.
Did you notice that Leslie's standing on a hay bale behind that podium? Yes, or well, straw bale, I guess I should say. If anyone has listened to the Office Ladies, there was like this huge thing where the hay place is not hay, it's straw. Everybody was like crazy about it. But anyway, it was really quick shot, but it's like she's standing on a hay bale because it's like her step stool thing to be tall enough for the podium, which is so weird.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I know. All right, so then we find little Sebastian. He had a light on the snake hole lounge thing, which is really hilarious, that they spotted from the top of the Ferris wheel. Jerry is still in the corn maze, which is hilarious.
Yep. I should probably go back and get him.
It looks like he's been there for days when it was really only a night.
Yeah.
It's so funny. But Ron's not going to go back and get him until he gets a bratwurst.
Yeah. Priorities, man.
Yes. Do you have anything before we get to Anne talking to this guy again? Okay. So this guy that Anne made out with comes back and tries to, quote, scoop them digits off you. I love that.
Yikes.
Oh my God. I love this character moment. But I also really love that Donna is the guru for this like romantical moment. Like she is not, she's definitely following through. And this was kind of a foreshadowing to the singles night that they go to later, which I think is hilarious and wonderful. And I love how Donna gives her a look like no. And she, after he leaves, after saying he's in the ER all the time, he's like, I don't mean to brag, but I'm in the ER like all the time. It's so funny.
Yeah, definitely not something to brag about, but that's okay.
But I love that Donna grabs the back of her shirt, of Anne's shirt, because Anne's like, he was kind of cute though.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so that was really cute. And then this is our like ending scene. I have a lot of information on our ending scene, but this is it. This is when American Girl by Tom Petty is used. I love it.
I can't hear this song without picturing Harvest Festival.
Yes, it's so good. Tom Petty, for those of you who don't know, is one of my most favorite people. And he just, and like, I feel like I feel this way with many bands / artists. I feel like my favorite people are not necessarily people I know all the words to. It's just like an emotion that somehow it's like a button is pressed on me. And I just like feel this emotion when I'm listening to their music or lyrics or whatever. And that's how Tom Petty makes me feel. And so it was so nice to just like be revisiting this episode with this song. And then we get a bit of a montage with the festival. Like Ron's driving the train. Andy and April are riding the merry-go-round horses. Ben finally comes back and he says he's sorry for leaving. I don't know. I kind of like that she says this project is yours as much as it is mine. Like I was talking about before. Like he doesn't see that. So I'm glad that she says that, because Leslie didn't have to say that. She knows she did a lot of the work. You know?
Yeah.
But they're working together and they're a team and a partnership, and she just really wants him to know that. And it's so prankish, and they hug.
Yeah, I know. Really I love it so much.
And then Ken comes up and throws some dirt on Ben and says curse has been lifted. And again, the subtitles are something stupid that he made up.
Right.
I also love, though, like this is classic Leslie and Ben, though, where Leslie's like, well, just in classic comedy, really, where Leslie's like, just, okay, go clean yourself up. You're filthy. Try to look professional.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah. Because I think she wants him there, like greeting everybody with her.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, I love this so much. Okay, do you have anything before we get to the crane shot / like big aerial shot moment?
No.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what I know, and then you can either ask me and I might know, or we'll just talk about it. But but basically, I was kind of hell-bent on figuring out what the fuck happened, because this is so not mockumentary. A mockumentary / documentary crew would not do this. And apparently Mike Schur like was killing himself over this. He was like so not sure whether to do it or not, especially not only the aerial shot, but the song. Because he was like, we never use songs. Documentaries don't really do that. I mean, they might have like original music, but they don't use, I mean, like, especially for what we've seen so far, like to keep in tone with the show. Right. So he was really thinking a lot about it, which I think is so indicative of how seriously they take this. Like, as much as funny things happen and, you know, whatever, it's just like they're trying to protect the integrity of the show. But let me just tell you what I found out. So the beautiful crane shot of the maze, the roller coaster, Sweetums, the visual effects, the thing that is CGI. Do you want to guess the two things that were CGI'd in that huge shot?
The Sweetum tent.
Yes.
And the roller coaster.
Yes. 100% A+. I think the tent might actually be real, but that Sweetums logo was superimposed on the tent. And yes, that roller coaster, which is a callback to when Tom and Ben were on Purd, the fat coaster, you must be this wide to ride.
Right.
That is a great callback. I think that, I don't know, some people, I don't remember where I heard this. There was an interview, I think, where somebody said that the CGI didn't hold up. And I think it holds up, bro. I think it looks great.
I do too.
That roller coaster looks real as fuck.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I don't know what y'all talk about.
Yeah. And Jeffrey Moss, the art director that I talked to, said that they obviously wouldn't, you know, like I said, when I was asking him about this, they were like, we weren't sure if we were going to do this because it's a mockumentary, da 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 da. But I just think that this was so perfect because it was so huge. We needed this huge arc of this story to be monumental somehow. And I think this aerial shot and that song just nailed it, and it was wonderful. They said to use this song costed upwards of $50,000. Probably more. Yeah. They said it's the most they've ever spent on that. They said this last shot was the most expensive shot they had done in the show up to this point.
Holy
just
crap.
that last 5 seconds or whatever the fuck. But it was so good. So I did talk to Shauna about this. I emailed her, and she said it was shot from a helicopter. So it wasn't a crane and it wasn't a drone. It was shot from a helicopter.
Okay.
Of the existing
Were drones a thing back then?
What?
Were drones a thing back then? Already?
Oh, I don't think so. I think that's what they would do now.
Okay.
I don't think they were used. I mean, I think they were used, but definitely not like this. It would have been a crane or something, But she said it was shot from a helicopter from the existing fall festival that was in place already at the location, like we talked about, at Pierce College, Community College. She said, yes, I do recall that the VFX team added the roller coaster and the Ferris wheel to make it seem like our, all caps, Harvest Festival. So that is the lowdown on the huge shot at the end. I think it worked so well. I think that it needed to be big. It needed to be outrageous, and so I'm just so glad that they did it because it paid off. I think it was big risk, big reward situation,
Yeah.
So
amazing.
I love that shot so much,
and it makes it different too. It makes this episode a little bit different.
Yeah, totally. It stands out, and it needs to.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so now we are finally at the tag of Ben, quote, finally getting it about Lil Sebastian, but he totally doesn't. He's just trying to fit in. But I think
has the shirt
it's
on
cute.
though.
He has the shirt on I met Lil Sebastian. I want that shirt, but I can't. Actually, I don't want that shirt because it's not real. I would be lying. But I love those shirts. I also, it's funny, speaking of those shirts, Shauna said that everybody on the crew as a wrap gift got shirts that said, I think they just said Pawnee Festival or the Harvest Festival, the ones that all of them are wearing, the little cute green ones that everybody
that's
had.
Cool.
I think it was a hoodie, though, that she said she got. So that's really cute and precious. And I think the reason she said that is because I asked her about the heat. And she was like, well, I don't really remember that part, but I do remember that we got a hoodie. So it must not have been that bad. And I was like,
yeah.
Okay. Because I was just not understanding what they were talking about at that time. Okay. So to clarify, they would have shot this in October to make it real, but they couldn't do that because October is one of the hottest months in LA. So they probably shot it in November, which is less hot. Ugh. It's like sneezing.
Nailed it.
I had to just get it done and out.
Yeah. I feel that.
Okay. The final note that I have is that there was a note that somebody said, I can't remember. Oh, this might have been the commentary. There are about 300 extras, 300 extras for Harvest Festival. Because you see that large crane shot, you see everybody's walking around. There were tons of extras. And especially at this ending shot, maybe it wasn't 200 or 300. Maybe it was closer to 100. But it was a lot of people. And especially this ending shot when everybody's surrounding Lil Sebastian, it got really hot that day. And apparently one of the extras, I think this was Dean Holland saying this because he directed it, right? Yeah, Dean Holland directed it. He said that an extra passed out because of the heat. And
wow.
he kept saying, we lost an extra that day. And everybody was like, but we didn't lose him. And they were like, no. He's alive, but he passed out heavily because heat exhaustion is real, y'all. They talk about that in quote background orientation or whatever. They say that sometimes you're outside on a set and you need to be hydrated. So
yeah, we have heat advisories here where you can get arrested if you go hiking.
What? No way.
Yeah, because you're now putting the rescue people in danger to have to come rescue you.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, okay, good to know. Everybody stay hydrated and don't be stupid. But,
as we are entering the winter months.
I know, right? Seriously. Well,
we'll repeat this
also
again in the spring.
Stay hydrated because of the dryness, okay?
Yes, exactly.
My lips are getting chapped more because of it's dry.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, well, do you have anything else? Any last notes that we didn't go through, even if it's not right now?
No.
Like anything else?
No, I hit every point I had.
Okay. Awesome. Well, that was Harvest Festival, you guys. So exciting. I couldn't wait for this one. This was such a huge episode, and it finally rounds out this kind of like second or first act, I guess, of the first season or second season. No, third season. Jeez. First act of the third season. My gosh.
Yeah.
And it's just like so lovely. So I'm excited to see the next episode, Camping, because I just love all the points that it hits about like big ideas and what to do next and all those kinds of things. But Harvest Festival was such a success, and I like as an episode, I think, and it was one of the most watched ones as well, according to it. Again, it doesn't really matter the viewership, but at that time it did, and this was one of the biggest ones. So I'm really proud of everybody.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Anyways, okay, well, don't be shy about leaving us a review, please. 5 stars. And you can write a review on Apple Podcast and email us, follow us on Instagram. I'll post all of the things. Thanks to Nick Armstrong as well for reaching out to us. Hopefully we hear from Morgan Bateman, aka Lil Sebastian's trainer, or Gideon, as we like to call him. And we will see you next time. Thank you.
See you then.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.